All right, everyone, we are now recording. If you can actually see my screen, you should see Google. If you can, please give me a 2 into the chat box. Okay, anyone else other than Raphael, can you see my screen? If you can, please give me a 2 in the chat box. Okay, great. Perfect. All right, everyone, well, welcome to the webinar. I am Gregory Ortiz, as many of you know. I'll be doing this Q&A with you until about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I apologize if I don't speak as fast as normal or don't answer your questions as quickly as I normally would. I've come down with a stomach virus. It was terrible last night, but today I'm feeling just a wee bit better. Wish we had yesterday's webinar because everything would have taken place before then. But anyway, I'm here now. So any questions you guys have, please start flooding the chat box with them and I'll start going through them. All right, so someone's asking if I can discuss the proper use of SENuke. SENuke is a tool that I used to use, I think, when I first started doing SEO, like maybe the first week or so, but it's not something that I primarily recommend anymore, simply because from most of the people I speak to who do SEO, they say that SENuke really has some bad properties in them that they start with by default. I'm sure there's a way for you to edit it, weed it out, and to be able to have better ones in there, but I personally don't use SENuke, so I won't be able to tell you the proper use of them, to be completely honest with you. Raphael's asking a good question. Not sure how to choose a price for clients. What do you recommend? So, Raphael, can you expand a little bit? Are you stating like if you're not sure of what price you want to choose for like a client if you're trying to rank them for something locally, like you want to know how much you should charge them per month? Okay, great. So one of the things that I do, I actually use the Google Keyword Planner, and let's go to that really quickly. All right, now as you can see, Google Keyword Planner. So just anyone out there, just give me like a general random niche of something local though. Like give me a niche and then I'll add a city to the end of it and I'll show you how I would price it. All right, so someone is saying rhinoplasty Dallas. All right, give me a second to check. And sorry, just give me 1 second. I just want to double check on Facebook really quickly to make sure everyone else is able to get in on this as well. So looks like Mike Woods is saying he doesn't have the chat box option. Let me see if I can actually edit that so that way everyone can. Okay. All right, I just did something in the settings. Hopefully everyone else that couldn't chat before could. I do see a bunch of chats in here, but in case other people can't, there you go. All right, awesome. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. It looks like everyone is able to get their questions in now. I apologize for that before. All right, so someone just asked, how do I go about pricing a client? Let's say, for example, rhinoplasty Dallas, right? So what I'll do is I'll actually go into Google Keyword Planner and I'll type in rhinoplasty Dallas, get ideas. Lisa, no, there's not going to be another webinar at 8 p.m. It is the one right now. Becker moved it to 3. He posted it yesterday. Just because a lot of people said 8 p.m. on a Friday conflicted with a lot of their schedules. All right. So the next thing I will do is I'll go to keyword ideas. And as you can see, there's an average monthly search of 590. So the beeps of the messages are on for everybody. Yara, I apologize for that. I have no idea how to turn it out. Like I said, normally I use Becker's account on GoToWebinar, but they're still having an issue with the account. I don't know why. So I had to just create a account right now. So I'm not too familiar with all the settings. Usually everything already has all of Becker's previous settings. This one doesn't. So I'm still trying to play around with it a little bit. Sorry. But anyway, yeah. So it has 590 monthly searches. So what I pretty much do is I'll say to myself, okay, if you are on the first page of Google and you have 590 searches, how many of that do you think you're going to have if you are on the first page? Well, I like to take everything and divide it into thirds. So I'll say, okay, if I'm going to get about a third of that traffic, right? So I'll take 590 results divided by 3, and then I'll actually ask the client as well, how much are they going to make from every single person that they get, all their leads. So if I'm getting 590 and I divide that by the 3 of them, then I'm going to say, okay, well, if you're getting, let's say on average about, $500 per lead, and I'm sending you X amount of leads, I'd multiply it by their 500, but then I would cut that by a third as well. That way they feel they're getting 2/3 worth back. Does that make any sense to you, Raphael? Okay, great. So that was Raphael's question. Let me go on to the next one. All right, so someone's asking, I know you're big into social signals and bookmarks for creating brand links, but what about blog comment links to increase the number of branded links? I was going to use Black Hat links, but don't know if I should take a chance since so many of those seem to be foreign sites. Yeah, I'm really big on social. What I would do is, just go out there and actually, as a matter of fact, in the group, someone earlier, either today or yesterday, posted that they're doing Cinewire Blast for about $4 a pop, which is completely cheap. Just reach out to that person, have them do some social blast for you for $4. You absolutely can't beat it. It's going to be cheaper than it would be at Black Hat links anyway. So yeah, I just stick to social signals and bookmarks for creating the brand links. Blog and comments are okay, but I wouldn't go about doing that. All right, let's jump to the next question for you. Besides being self-hosted, what's wrong with SENuke to build PBNs? I've never used SENuke to build a PBN, so I honestly can't tell you what's wrong or not wrong with it. People in the Facebook group are saying the session is full. Yes, it is full right now. Like I said, simply because I do not have the same account as Becker, which he's allowed to have 1,000 people in. I have about only 100 that I'm allowed to have in. I do not know how to update it. I tried to update it, pay more money. They just wouldn't allow me to since it is a brand new account. But there will be a replay in the members area for them. Okay. Should I use a contract for my first client? You can. I don't use contracts anymore. I did when I first started, but then I realized you don't really want to feel like if you're a client, you don't want to feel like you're locked into a contract if SEO doesn't work. And if you're doing your job good enough, then you shouldn't really have to worry too much about them backing out on it. So I don't really use contracts, but if you do want one and know what one should look like, I'm sure there's a few templates out there that you could use. I can even, if I were you, I'd maybe even reach out to Stephen Floyd, see if he has a contract, or just maybe post in the Facebook group, and then everyone will share with you what kind of contracts they have. So someone's asking how important is relevance? Relevance is pretty much everything. Relevance is extremely important. You should always want to make sure that your links are as relevant as possible. So if you're not going to have exact match anchors, you want them to be somewhat similar. You want them to be relevant so that way Google at least understands that they are similar to your overall topic. You want them to either be like most of your links should either be branded links or they should be along the lines of them being like a synonym for your main keywords that you're going for. Okay. Let me just jump to the next question. Okay. How does Sorry, I'm just going through all these questions real quickly. If I do two Cinewire blasts from two different people, will that raise an alert to Google or will one Cinewire blast work? I like to start everything nice and slow. So I would go out and just do one Cinewire blast. And then from that point on, I'd move it on to the very next one. So just do one Cinewire blast, see how it is, see if it works well for you, and then move on to something else. All right. Should backlinks come from the same country language of our money sites? It's preferable that they should just because that would look more natural. However, if you think about it, there's plenty of sites out there that are getting backlinks from, like, let's say you're here in the United States, you're going to get backlinks from countries that are, in Europe or in the UK, which is part of Europe. As long as it's the same language, I think it's okay. You don't want different languages kind of intermixing. So I really wouldn't go with that. Someone's asking about competition analysis, maybe doing something live, which is Yara. Hey, Yara, how are you? All right, so I am going to do some, actually, before I even get into that, because that will take a few minutes. If you're interested in seeing a live analysis of a competitor, just put a 2 into the chat box really quickly. Okay, great. Now, if everyone now can just hold off on asking any questions because it continues to bring the chat box all the way to the bottom when I'm going through it until I tell you to. Right now, I'm going to do this analysis since all of you seem it's very, very interested, and then I'll jump back to these questions. So just give me 1 second, I'll do it for you. And we're going to go with rhinoplasty Dallas just as the keyword. And it will be very, very quickly, so don't worry, Don. All right, so rhinoplasty Dallas. Let's say this is the spot we want. We want this number one guy. So what I'll do is I'll copy his URL, go into Majestic, paste it, and then I see, well, he has some strong site. All right, 34 Trustful, 39 citation, which is very, very good actually, and it's all health related, which is even more important. And what I'll do is I'll also take a look at his anchor text. So with the anchor text, I can see he's diversified because all the other is a whole bunch of miscellaneous, and everything else is about 6, 5, and 4%. So he has a very, very good diverse anchor text ratio. So this person is doing very, very good SEO. Most of their links are follow with a couple of no follows, which looks natural. Now, if we go down to look at where their best backlink is coming from, according to Majestic, it's this one right here, guntercenter.com. So what I'll do is I'll open it really quickly just to see if it's a directory that I can get myself on. And it looks like it happens to actually be an entire separate practice. Yeah, they have different practices. So they're actually getting backlinks from their own sites as well, which is really good. So let's say this is a site that I actually wanted to take over, right? Like I want this number one spot. I want to own it. So let's turn on Mozbar really quickly. You can see they are a PA35 DA22. So the first thing I would try to do is try to get my domain authority to be higher than a 22 in the first place. So there's many, many different ways you can go about doing it. The best way really is just getting more links pointing to your site that are high quality, and that'll overall raise your DA. So I would put a whole bunch of like social links that'll help raise the DA, do some social bookmarks that'll help raise the DA completely, and then do some PBNs. PBNs are very important in raising your DA, and it'll also simultaneously raise your PA at the same time. So I try to get at least to this level he has, and then at that point, that's when I would start trying to tackle and trying to get my trust flow and citation flow up. Now, naturally, you're going to gain citation and trust flow at the same time when you are increasing your DA and PA. You may not get these exact same levels, and they may not all be within the health medicine niche, which is what you would want, but that's what I would tackle first. Just quickly go after some social signals to get your DA and PA up, because a lot of times you can actually beat another site just by having a higher DA than them in the first place. Hopefully that answered your question, Yara. Okay, let me jump back. All right, just hold off on the questions for 1 second. Let me just go on to the next one. Okay, so Lisa's saying she has a client stuck on page 2, and the top 4 guys are mostly using trackbacks and spammy links on their backlink profile. Should I go crazy getting the same links or any other suggestion? No, I would not go crazy getting trackbacks and spammy links just like they are, simply because they're eventually going to get caught. They're eventually going to get pinned down, and when that does happen, you don't want to be a part of them. You don't want to get caught with them. You know, you don't want your site to get penalized or your client site to get penalized simply because you're trying to match your competitors. Just keep doing high quality links, keep focusing on your PBNs, keep focusing on social, and you'll eventually either overtake them naturally or as soon as they go ahead and get caught. Okay, and then let me go to the next question for you. Do I have feelings about buying Web 2.0 blog post on Black Hat? Would those be good to point to a PBN site at least? I've never bought any Web 2.0 blog posts on any Black Hat site, so I really can't speak about it, to be honest with you. I try to stay away from everything Black Hat forum related, to be honest with you. All right. Let me see the next one. What is the best way to set up a multi-city lead gen site, and how should we structure it in regards to social accounts? So Randall, I assume you mean if you have a site that is going to be something along the lines of, rhinoplasty.com/Texas, rhinoplasty.com/Louisiana, etc., etc. The best way to do it would be to silo it. And then as far as structuring it, you can have your social accounts all point to just the one main site itself, and you want to boost up that one main site. Naturally, as the DA goes up, the rest of the pages get stronger. So I would just go ahead and set up all my social. You don't want to set up a social account to every single page that you have on that. That would be a little bit ridiculous. But I would go ahead and just set up everything just to your main site as far as social goes, and then you'll be able to boost up all your other pages naturally and use PBNs to get those single sites up naturally. Like, I'll give you a prime example. If you go to Google, New York City SEO, this is my site here. As you can see, it's not on the main domain. I don't rank #1 for onlysourceconsulting.com. It's onlysourceconsulting.com/services/SEO. This page is ranking, and I did that with PBNs. So you can rank specific pages, but you definitely want to send all of your social to the main site itself, if that makes sense. Okay. Yara's asking, when there's a page instead of a domain on the first spot, is there any difference the way you analyze it at Majestic? No, there isn't. Prime example, once again, is my site. If I just threw that page, because remember, it is a page, not the domain ranking, I just throw it into Majestic, and here you see virtually nothing. And you will never see anything because I hide my entire network extremely well. But you won't see anything, but that's how I would analyze it if I was someone else. As far as my site itself is concerned, you really won't be able to do much analyzation with it. But of other people's, yeah, I would just throw the entire page in here. Someone's asking, do I get significant business from NYC SEO ranking? Yes, I do. I get anywhere from about 10 to 15 calls per day of people looking to do SEO, which is why I personally don't cold call anymore. People just call me, and then I can pick and choose who it is that I want to actually do SEO for. For me personally, at the level that I'm doing SEO, I don't take on anyone unless they're willing to pay at least $3,000 per month. Anyone who's paying less than that, I kind of just, give the leads to friends of mine. Someone's asking, what do I use to hide my PBN links in Majestic? There are many, many, many different ways you can hide it. The easiest way, which is not one that I personally do anymore, but I did do it at the beginning, was using Spider Spanker. There's a plugin called Spider Spanker Nuke, and you can actually use that one, and it will hide your PBN links from Majestic and pretty much everyone else. But it is a plugin created by a good friend of mine, Todd Spears, who's actually really good friends with Becker and everyone else. He's been doing SEO for like forever. He created a plugin called Spider Spanker, which many of you may be aware of, and that one will hide your PBN links. The way I do it is actually a little bit different, but I do not share with anyone my own personal technique on how I hide my network. Sorry. Because if I did, then you'd be able to unravel it. All right, let's go to the next one. Moz Analytics. Okay, Thomas, I appreciate you throwing in Lewis's question. However, I can't respond to it because I don't want it being posted in the group going back and forth, because then that would just be way too much going on at one point. Lewis does speak to me, though, on Facebook, so he's more than welcome to ask me there. All right, so Don is asking, if I bought PBNs and set them up as directed, how soon can I link to them from a client's website? You can link the exact same day. So what I'll do is, like, if I have a PBN from one of them, I don't link all of them the exact same day, but I'll use one, link it out that first day. Then I'll use the second PBN maybe 2 or 3 days later, link out. Then use another one maybe 3 or 4 days later, maybe 2. Just keep the numbers random. Like one day, like for every single site, I do it differently. So if I have a money site A is going to get different links to it based on different days. So it's going to be something along the lines of, like, I might link out day 1, the next one day 4, the next one day 3, the next one day 2, the next one 4 days later, all going to one money site, but the other one I'll mix it up. Just try to keep it as natural as possible. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, someone's asking me to look at a specific SEO site. Hey, Randall, the site you want me to look at, is that your site or is that competitors? Okay, a competitor of yours. I will take a look at it. Hopefully it's not another member's, because that would just be funny. But let's take a look at it. And I see my phone just lighting up with all these different Facebook messages. I'm assuming everyone wants to get in the group. I'm very, very sorry that they couldn't. All right. So this is a competitor of yours who has very, very high trust flow and citation flow. And it looks like they are hiding most of their stuff too, because they got a 301 permanent redirect. All right. Other anchor. Oh, it's Orange County. Okay, their anchor text profile looks pretty good because it's all branded, is the highest links that they have, which is good. Let's take a look at their best backlink is coming from AngelinaJoliePics.com, which is kind of odd. Let's open that site. And this looks like it is a PBN network of some sort. Yeah, see, SEO by Orange County Search Engine Optimization. So it looks as though this is their PBN, which they bought the domain name AngelinaJoliePics.com, which had some DA and PA in it, and they went ahead and just linked out to their own site at the bottom. As you can see, it's pretty good the way they did it. They made it look natural, so in case anyone did happen to stumble upon it, they're able to believe that this site is about this, that it's not an actual PBN in the first place. Because as you can see, they're speaking a little bit about Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. They even have links going to Angelina and Brad Pitt. So it's very, very smart the way that they did it in the first place. So it does look natural, but you can tell that this is a PBN in the first place. And it has a very high trust level, if that's what I saw correctly. And that's how they're actually boosting themselves up. So you can see they have a trust level of 50, I believe. Yeah, trust level of 50. So it's something that they probably bought off of auctions and they went ahead and got it that way. Funny thing is, this is probably the person, Tyler Collins, who left his Google Plus account able to get crawled. And it looks as though, let's take a look at him. It's a 404 error. Let's see why. It's not there anymore. But maybe Tyler Collins is the owner of that domain that you're trying to beat. But that's pretty much what your competitor is doing. They're using PBNs, good PBNs, and they're using them to boost themselves up. Okay. Yara's asking if the results of that page on Majestic are low in metrics, does that mean they're easy to beat? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Reason why I say that is simply because, as you saw with mine, I hired all my stuff, so they look relatively low. But as you can see, I do rank #1 in the biggest city in America. So normally, yes, if this person isn't hiding them, like it's just a regular site. But if it's someone that actually knows what they're doing, that doesn't necessarily mean everything, which is why I like to take a look at DAPA and trust flow citation flow. Raphael's asking, how do I handle payment from clients? I would like to use PayPal, but I don't think there are that many business owners with PayPal. Beautiful thing with PayPal is it actually accepts credit card and debit cards. So they can pay with a credit card and debit card through PayPal. I am a huge fan of WHMCS. Everything that I do it through WHMCS. I paid someone to actually set it up for me on my site. Most big sites in the world actually use WHMCS, which you may not be aware of. And I'll jump to it really quickly just so you can see what I'm talking about. Pretty much WHMCS, it's a complete content management system. It's integrated with PayPal and pretty much every other payment system that you could think of. It was originally created for people who are doing like web design, but you can tweak it to do anything. So I use it for SEO and everything else, and this is the payment gateway that I use for everyone to pay through. Actually, PayPal is the gateway, but this is the system that I use for everyone to make all their payments through. All my SEO clients, everyone that buys PBNs from me, everyone that buys anything from me, I do everything through WHMCS. I also know Becker uses WHMCS too, and as a matter of fact, if you paid for this course, which obviously you all did, you paid for it through WHMCS and you may not have even realized it in the first place. Okay. Yara's asking, sometimes it's not the DA that holds the #1 spot on the top. What do you think the main factor that you should look for to see if competition is easy to beat? Once again, Yara, it could be many, many, many different things. There's not one thing that it may be, may not be. There's many, many different things that it could be, simply because you want to take everything into consideration. The same way Google doesn't rank everyone based upon one specific topic or one specific criteria is the same way you'd have to analyze your competition. Like, if Google had a formula and said, hey, this is what makes a site rank #1, then that's what we'd all be doing. But since there's so many different variables, you have to take them all into consideration. So while the #1 spot may not have the highest DA, they might have the highest trust flow, they might have the highest citation flow. So you kind of use these all as a gauge to kind of mix them all together to hopefully find the best way that you can do it. Does that answer your question, Yara? Okay, great. Perfect. All right. Now, Yara is saying we should buy links from sites from the same country as ours. In the foreign strategy that Alex teaches us, he doesn't mention anything. Yeah. What Alex did for the foreign strategy is a little bit different. I was referring particularly to USA Google.com, just because the rules are a little bit, well, not a little bit, they're actually much stricter here in the United States on Google.com than they are for foreign sites. So for foreign sites, you can actually get away with a whole lot, as opposed to other countries where you can't get away with so much more. So like for foreign ways, you can get away with them. So yeah, you can have links coming from, other languages and other countries, and that's perfectly fine. But you can't always get away with it for other ones. Does that make sense? All right. Marcelo's asking, when linking to a money site from a PBN, can you link to the site's social profiles from the same post? So if I'm linking to a money site from a PBN, can I link to the site's social profile? You can, yes, actually. So you're saying you want to point the PBN to the social profile? Yes, you can absolutely do that. You can point to the social profile as long as you're doing it in the same post. Don't do two different posts. Do it all in one post. So I do maybe one link pointing to their social profile, another one directly to their website, but it's all going to be within the same post. Now, Michael's asking, is there any way to automatically clean up old backlinks? What's the way you're using for client site? So, Michael, I assume you're referring to if I had a client who had bad backlinks pointing to them in the first place? Okay, perfect. So yes, if that was the case, then there's many different ways to do it. I mean, the biggest way is penalty recovery. If I remember correctly, there is a video covering penalty recovery, so you should watch that one in your members area. It's a little bit way too in depth to actually go over on this webinar that we're hosting, because honestly, when I do penalty recovery, it takes a couple of hours to get everything done, and that's something that is very, very advanced, actually, if you're going to do it that way. But the quickest way is to just use the disavow tool in Google. So you can take all the bad backlinks, throw them into the disavow tool, and Google will no longer count those bad backlinks for you. Does that answer your question, Michael? It's relatively easy too. Just Google disavow tool, and it's really, really simple, to be completely honest. Okay, great. That was the last question we have right now, so feel free to ask some more questions. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second because I'm going to hopefully be able to boost up this webinar to be able to hold more people than it currently can. So hold on 1 second. All right. And now everything is recording again. Once again, sorry for that little hiccup. If you can see google.com, please give me a 2 into the chat box. Awesome. And now I understand why Becker says all the time he hates GoToMeeting. All right, awesome. So now I answered all the questions from the last one. Just want to start answering yours now. So let's get started. Johnny's asking, what is the best way to strengthen DA? Is it PBNs via SynWire? The best way I strengthen DA is primarily PBNs. Many of you know me as the quote unquote PBN guy. I do PBNs for everything. They're like my biggest obsession. I use them to boost up my DA, my PA, pretty much everything else you can imagine. So I do use social as well to kind of spread out my anchor text ratio, but I do use PBNs to boost up the DA, PA, and everything else. You're asking how to power up the PBNs. PBNs should already have power with them in the first place. That's kind of why you get them. But if you do need them to get boosted up a little bit more, you can send social signals to them. There's a couple other things you can do to get them boosted up just a little bit more. And if anyone of you guys could actually just post up a new thread with the link to here, just so that way everyone else can join, simply because there's almost the same amount of people as the last one. So if someone could just post it in there. It looks like DK is on it, so everyone please don't all post at once. Just let DK do it. Otherwise, we'll have like 30 posts in there. Thank you. All right, guys. Now, just continue to ask questions. Just flood me with questions. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys make as much money as possible. Here to help you guys get the ball rolling or get you out of a rut wherever you may be. Let's just get those questions pouring on in, and I'll be able to help you out. Randall, you're asking about that OC SEO site. How long would it take to beat them? To be honest with you, their backlink profile was extremely strong. You would have to have a very, very, very good network to compete with them. As far as how long, there's not really a sense of how long. It's actually how much you're willing to put into it. So if you're willing to actually match them and, of course, beat them, then you can do it. But it really is all relative to how much you're actually willing to pour into your network in the first place. I mean, with anything else, you can beat any site out there. You just have to be willing to pour the resources into it. All right. And then let's see. All right. Johnny's asking, I have many PBNs on Network Solutions, but I can't change who is there and don't want to pay for protection. What should I do? Change them to a new registrar. I would move them to Namecheap. Namecheap is one of my favorites. They include free Whois privacy there on the first place. So just change them to a different registrar. That'd be the easiest way. Okay, Lewis is asking, are we discounting Moz's on-page optimization grades like we do Yoast? Based on my prior video about on-page optimization tactics, Moz gives me an F, but if I redo it, I get an A from them. I feel like I'll be over-optimized for keyword. Isn't Moz up to date regarding broad content? I mean, just like anything else, Moz's on-page grades are great for some regards, but I don't take them to the T like with anything else. For me, it's really based on best practices, people that I speak to that are in the SEO world, and kind of all the guidance that we've been giving you guys is what we know is working right now and has been working. So, Moz has their own vested interest in the first place. So I don't go exactly by what Moz says, if that makes sense to you. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Yara, since we don't want to rank the homepage when building links, should we not send links to the homepage, only inner? I do both, Yara. I'll send my most powerful links to the inner page that I want to rank, and my not so powerful links, but to help diversify the anchor text of the homepage, to the homepage itself. Thomas, when starting a new site, should you have the main page and a couple of pages built to it posted? Let me just reread your question one more time because maybe I didn't understand it. When starting a new site, should you have the main page and a couple of pages built before publishing it? No, you don't necessarily need to. You can actually start building throughout. There have been plenty of sites where I've had just the main page built and I start pushing some PBN links and I just keep fleshing it out from that point forward. Marcella's asking, when using SynWire, I have noticed that when posting to Facebook profiles, let me see. It is visible to friends only, regardless of the profile's main privacy settings are to public. Being that any links are not visible to the public, does this still help social signals in regards to Google? That I am not 100% certain on, Marcelo. I apologize. Once again, guys, with me, anytime I am helping you guys out, I'll always give you the honest answers. If I don't know something, I have no problem saying I don't know. So I'm sorry, I do not. Matthew's asking, does the Hoth and Lincoln Pro do the same thing as PBNs and link management? I have not used both. However, I know Becker has used both of them. So your best bet is to ask him probably during one of his webinars. Henry's asking, I need to increase my client's brand anchor text links. Other than SynWire, where is a good place to get quality brand link blasts? If you don't want to use SynWire, there's plenty of other ways to get social signals sent to you. I mean, there's a lot of good gigs on Fiverr that have social signals that aren't specifically SynWire. You can try that out. Also, just ask in the Facebook group. So many people have so many good resources out there that if you just ask, someone will be more than happy to share it with you. Thomas, sorry, should they be optimized before publishing? Yes, Thomas. I guess that was the continuation of your question before. Yes, you want them to be as optimized as possible. You can go back and optimize them a little bit more, but you should have them somewhat optimized, yes. Someone else is asking about FCS Network. And the previous one, I guess you weren't in on it. I don't know much about FCS, just SynWire. Feel free to ask in the group, though. There are a lot of people in there who've used both. Okay. Let's see. Have I ever used? No, I have not actually. Someone was just asking if I used a specific program out there. I won't say the name of the program just because I haven't used it, but no, I have never used that program before. If we miss social autopilot, how can we replicate some of its results by ourselves? DK Flynn, I mean, you guys have enough information out there in the members area to not worry about replicating it to everyone. You just want to make sure that you're able to just do your own SEO. As far as replicating what, pretty much the entire strategy of social autopilot. Becker created social autopilot, as you know. He brought me on board to help fine tune and to come up with a specific way to rank sites. That's kind of like our secret sauce, so to speak, so that we really don't share with people. But there's enough information in your members area to go ahead and rank anything you want, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I was asking, do comments on blogs still work some way in the matter of link building, even if they are no follow? If it's a no follow, it doesn't give you any link juice. It just helps diversify your anchor text. So if that's what you're looking to do, you can do it. I wouldn't go too crazy with it though. Michael B is asking, what hosting company do I recommend? Um, I always have short codes for everything because I never remember anything. But it's tiny.cc/IP networks, and I'll actually send that to you all. They are the #1 host I recommend to everyone. As far as what their actual domain name is, I don't remember, but there you go. Let's go to it and see what happens. Oh, it's ip-networks with x.com. Yeah. They are the ones that I recommend. I'm in constant touch with one of the owners. He is a SEO himself, and his partner is the genius behind all the technical stuff. And they keep their network as very, very, very safe as possible. And DK, yes, they're good for money and PBN sites. I have 160 sites hosted with them right now, and I haven't had any issues with them. I'm about to pop on another 100 actually. Okay. So Raphael's asking, how do I deal with clients who do not have installed WordPress on their site? Me personally, I'm fortunate that I was a web designer before I ever tried to learn SEO, so I'm okay because I know how to do HTML and everything else like that. But if you are not familiar with it, just feel free to go on Odesk, find people who know HTML or PHP, tell them what you want done, and they'll be able to do some custom edits for you. It's going to cost you a bit more, but you'll still get it done. But obviously WordPress is a little bit easier. Johnny's asking, okay, so this is a question a lot of people have been asking about Link Juice Keeper. Is it really better to not use it? Let me give you an example on what I was talking about before. Let's go to, I don't know. Actually, you know what? No, not even that, because I need to find a PBN, actually. So let's go to, all right, let's just grab any domain that is an expired domain, right? Store it in Moz, just so you can see what I was referring to before. Okay. So you see here how if I use Link Juice Keeper, right, it's telling them, okay, I want this page that used to exist to point to my homepage, this page that used to exist to point to my homepage, this one, which is the exact same one, pointing to, oh no, it's not, it actually has a .rs, pointing to my homepage, this one pointing to my homepage, and this one. Now, I've seen plenty of times where the list is longer, and you'll see a whole bunch of links from pages that have a PA of 0. I don't want all those PA zeros pointing to my homepage because they're terrible in the first place. They have no juice, they have no nothing. I don't want a whole bunch of pages that have no juice at all pointing back to my homepage. So that's why I'll use simple 301 redirects. And what I'll do is I'll simply just copy this URL and redirect it to the homepage. But all the PA zeros or the PA ones and all the crappy ones, I won't redirect them at all. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it was a little bit confusing before when I mentioned it. But Johnny, does that clear that up for you and everyone else? Why I mentioned before about not using Link Juice Keeper so much anymore? Okay, great. Terry's asking, should you send your SendWire blast to the domain or the post you want to rank? You can actually send it to the post you want to rank because that is the post you're trying to rank. You can send it to the domain too if you like, but the post is what I would do. A borderline of PAs that I link to my homepage. I don't like anything less than a PA 10. If it's less than a PA 10, I don't even bother, to be honest with you, DK. Okay. Kim's asking, do I use something like Spider Spanker? I just spoke about that. Spider Spanker is a great plugin from Todd Spears. A lot of people use it. It will hide your entire network from a lot of people. I don't use it so much anymore because I have a different technique that I use. But Spider Spanker is the best thing out there on the market that you can use. DK, how does it feel to be able to rank sites at will? I wish I could rank any site I wanted to at will. If I could, I'd be a bajillionaire. But pretty much everything that we laid out in the members area is everything you guys would need to literally get started making $10,000 per month at least. It's the exact same method that so many different people that I've personally coached and that Stevens has personally coached and Becker's personally coached that have been making 5 figures per month. So you don't even need to worry about being able to rank sites at will. As long as you could just rank one site or even enough sites to make that much money, you're okay. DK, the technique other than Spider Spanker, that's something I don't reveal simply because if I did, you could uncover my entire network. Sorry. Raphael, how do you talk to clients who live very far away from you? Skype, question mark. Yes, I use Skype for anyone who is too far away. But to be honest with you, most people I communicate via email or a phone conversation. I don't really ever see my clients simply because I'm in a fortunate situation where I do rank very highly for a big city. But when I first got started, that wasn't always the case, obviously. So it was via phone call and via Skype. Susan's asking for local rankings, will 5 PBNs that I'm buying from you be enough? Susan, it's all relative to your niche. For some sites, it's absolutely fine. For some of them, you might need more. It depends on your competition. You know, if the less competition, obviously, the less PBNs you would need. So it really is all relative to your competition. Terry's asking, do you buy relevant PBNs or make them relevant to your money site? I want to make sure they're always relevant. So what I'll do is, just like it shows here in Majestic, see how this one says the primary topical trust flow is arts people. So I'll make sure that if and this one right here is shopping. So if I'm building a site that's about arts, I'm going to want something that the primary trust flow is about arts. So that's how I make it relevant. I'll then tweak it to be something specific within arts, but that's what I'm going for in the first place. Okay, Johnny's asking, is connecting RSS feed with my social profiles via SynWire count as a SynWire Blast? I have SynWire, but don't really know how SynWire Blast works. I would recommend just going back into your help file or maybe asking the Facebook group, simply because I don't want to give you the wrong information when it comes to SynWire Blast. I have people who mostly do SynWire Blast for me. I don't actually do it myself. So it's best you get that information from people who are actually doing it. I would hate to give you the wrong information. Randall is asking, is my PBN creation program open? Oh, I think you mean, yes, Randall. At the very top of your Facebook group, you'll see under the files, you're going to see a list of recommended vendors. You'll see I'm under there under PBNs, because I do sell PBNs to everyone. You guys get a discount. Please don't forget to use your discount code. And yes, it's definitely still open. All right, guys, so it's 4. I'm actually going to keep it going for like another 5 to 10 minutes since we did have that hiccup in between both of them. So just feel free to pour in a little bit more questions. So Lewis is saying, most of my keywords are showing up in mods at 27% difficulty. How would you approach crushing that competition level? How many PBNs? How much SynWire Blast? I actually don't ever look at the mods difficulty. I just look at DA and PA. I don't pay attention to what their percentage of difficulty is. Because like, for example, if I went to, let's go here. And then I did their, I forgot where it is. There's something that you can click on it and it'll actually tell you what their competition is. I know exactly what he's talking about. When you do it, it'll tell you how difficult the competition is according to them. I just look at DA and PA and try to beat it. That's really it. So Daniel's asking, if we're setting up our own service like SynWire, how many social web 2.0 bookmarks should it push to post max? I'm thinking 100 plus. I usually like to start small and then boost it up. So don't start out straight at 100 because it's gonna look weird from having no links at all to getting 100 socials. I would start small and then ramp it up a bit. Same way they do drip feed. Johnny's asking, is a link indexer necessary? No, I prefer just using Google XML sitemaps or Google XML video sitemaps and just letting Google find my site that way. Okay. Okay, Bulla's asking not to use basic WordPress themes. That would be the default ones like 2013, 14, and 15. Any ones that you recommend? I recommend any of one other than those, to be honest with you. As long as you can publish, as long as you can show your post on the main page, you're okay. So just use those. How long does it take to increase the DA of a page? Your DA increases automatically. However, Moz doesn't update their DA and PA system all the time. So for you to actually see it, it may take a bit for you to see it, but it'll update automatically as far as you pointing a link to it. You won't actually see the numbers go up until Moz sends their crawler out to actually update the system, but that's when you would see it. And yes, DK, sending high DA links to a page does help increase its PA, not DA. Remember, a page will have a PA, which is page authority. Your DA is always your domain authority. So if you're pointing a link from a high DA site to a page, its PA will increase. Some of the DA will, but mostly it'll be PA, page authority. Johnny, as far as transferring domains from Network Solutions to another registrar, just choose a registrar, and in there, I'm sure you can just look it up. Like if you went to Namecheap.com and typed in how to change from one registrar to another, they can help you. Plus, their support is really good. You can just ask them. Michael's asking the purpose of a tool like InstantLinkIndexer.com. How does it work? I personally have InstantLinkIndexer.com. I use it here and there, but for different purposes like testing. And pretty much all it does is it sends pings and RSS feeds from your link all over the internet, so that way Google can hopefully crawl it. Another question I posted in Facebook, Alex mentioned Rent-A-Serp not working well. Besides that, is there something else that can be used to rent a page to clients? There was one that Stephen Floyd mentioned. I believe it was from SEM Easy, but I don't remember the name of it, to be honest with you. But there is another one out there. You can just ask maybe Stephen Floyd. He can help you out with that. All right, guys. Thank you very much for today's webinar. Sorry for that little bit of a hiccup we had. There's no other questions pouring in right now, so I'm going to end the webinar here for right now. Becker will stitch the two recordings together, so that way you guys will have them. And we shouldn't have this issue any other time moving forward. I fixed everything on my end, and Becker will fix everything on his next time he's around. So thanks so much, guys. Any other questions, anything else you have, feel free to give me a shout out on the Facebook group. Also, one other thing, I've been receiving a lot of private messages on Facebook, which I don't mind. However, please do not get frustrated if I don't answer you right away, because I literally get hundreds of Facebook messages per day because I'm part of other groups as well. And it takes a long time for me to actually sit down and go through them, since I'm not always actively going through my Facebook messages. I actually pay more attention to the group. So if you have questions, just ask in the group, because I prefer to answer through there, because that's the quickest way I'm able to sort through everything. Okay. If you have a question for me personally, feel free to ask through the messenger, but it'll